Welcome on, everybody. My name is Lee Ellen Kline, and I am so excited to be hosting tonight's Keep Punching University call. I have the honor and privilege of interviewing John Shaw tonight. So I'll tell you a little bit about him. John is originally from, he helped me with his pronunciation, you guys, Kitchener. I don't know if I got it right, John, you might have to correct me. And currently resides in North Carolina with his wife, Courtney, and their 5 children. He is a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company and has a background in financial planning. He has a passion for health, nutrition, and fitness for as long as he can remember. He is constantly educating himself to stay up to date with the latest trends in the wellness movement. John continually strives to achieve growth and balance in his life and hopes to be a positive influence in the lives of others. And I know he will be tonight. He is active in playing hockey, golf, working out to stay on top of his game. So John, please join me tonight. Go ahead and unmute. I'm going to kick this off. Can you share a little bit about your story and what made you say yes to this mission all those years ago?
For sure, for sure. Lee Ellen, I'm waiting for you to get excited. Oh my gosh.
I am so excited, you can't tell.
I know. I'm waiting for you to come through my computer screen here. So my story is kind of a 2-part story, and it's probably not a normal story, but the cool thing is I always hear Carrie Daigle say, you want to be abnormal. So my story might be a little abnormal to some of you, but so I actually, my 35-year anniversary was just last week on Halloween. How scary is that? And I looked at the business way back then. A friend of mine called me and said, come on and check this thing out. And I went to a little meeting in my town in Kitchener, and I saw what I saw was basically, average people making above average income. That's what I saw. And that's what got my attention back then. I was obviously quite a bit younger then. And, I was kind of ignorant. I didn't understand a whole lot of what was going on, but it looked like, hey, if those people could do it, I could do it too. And, why not me? So I went to work, and we were kind of, plugging along, and this was prior to Juice Plus. The company had a different product line back then. And so we were working, and it went great. We had fun. And I think the big thing for me back then was I went to a conference, like a lot of us just got back from. And the one I went to was in Memphis. And when I got there, it kind of blew my mind, because there was this massive room full of people. And, my little first meeting I went to, there was some people. There was a ton of people making above average income. And that's really, I think, where I got locked in. And I said, I know I'm in the right place. And so I worked the business, with my sponsor and upline and stuff, and got to what is now the QNMD position. And the company went through a little transition from the old product line to the Juice Plus product line. And at that time, I have to tell you, I wasn't that excited about the product line, but I had always been interested in the financial planning field. And so that's kind of, became a customer of the product and got into the financial planning scene. And I was doing that for about 10 years as I was a customer and I was a QNMD. And then, the grass always looks greener, right? So I hated being in an office all day. I didn't want to do it anymore. I remembered the freedom that I had when I was, back working the business full time. So in 2003, after being a customer for 10 years, I came back. And I came back, and it was kind of a side hustle for me, because I knew the company. I knew how amazing the company was and the leadership and everything. So when I came back, I was doing it on the side, hoping to build it back up. And that's what happened. And in 2006, 39 months later, I got to the position of national marketing director and got the whole benefits package and all the rest of it. And that, definitely, that is what got my, my full-time attention. And I was doing both for a number of years. And then in I think it was around 2015, 2014, I sold my practice and have been full-time ever since. So, and I guess the thing that brought me back was, I was working with people with their finances, but what I realized is, money's great, but if you don't have your health, nothing else matters, right? People would give everything up to get their health back. And the person that sticks out of my mind with that is Steve Jobs. There's a guy that probably could have written one of the biggest checks in the world to save his life, but it was too late. And so that's really what got me thinking is, money's great, but health is more important. And that's why I came back and help people get healthy. And, we can do both here, but I couldn't help people with their health in my other career. So that's what brought me back.
That's amazing. I love that part of your story, because for me as well, the business was actually what drew me in, and then the product was just a big bonus on top of that. So that's so cool. So there is, from what I've heard, an interesting part of your story, because in terms of, you used to live in Canada, but you relocated to the United States. So can you share that story for our listeners and elaborate on what that process was like for you?
Sure. So, many of you would know my wife, Courtney, and we met through the business, and we were dating long distance. And, I'd get on a plane every few weeks and fly down here, and it was great, but, you can only do that for so long. So, we had two choices. She could move up there with 5 kids, or I could move down here by myself. And I don't know if you've ever been to Canada in the winter, but it made the choice pretty easy. The weather's much nicer in North Carolina. So we applied. Has anyone ever seen the show on TV, 90 Day Fiance?
Yes.
That was me. I was a 90 Day Fiance. So we filled out the visa, the K-1 visa, the forms. I think it was April of 2018, maybe. And it's a process. And eventually I got approval for my my visa, and I moved here in February of 2019. We got married a week later in our living room, because how that process works, when you come here, you've got 90 days to get married, or you can go back. And the sooner you get married, then I had to apply for a green card. So we did it in the first week. It's not like we didn't know each other. We'd known each other for a while. And so in February, we applied for my green card. And then finally in September, the green card comes in, end of September. And in that window of time, I wasn't allowed to work here because I didn't have work papers, right? So I had a business back in Canada. I had some business in the US as well, but through that whole time, every month I kept getting a check. Every month kept getting a check. Those checks were being deposited to my Canadian bank account, and then I'd flip them down here. But in September, I finally got my green card. The cool thing is, through that whole time, my business did not suffer. It didn't go down, right? Like, I couldn't work, but my team could still work. And, Courtney could kind of, there's a little gray area in there. Let's just say that. So I got my green card in September, and then I was, good to go. Well, anyone know what happened in March of 6 months later?
Ooh.
COVID hit. So I got here for about 7 months. I couldn't work. And then for about 6, I could. And then they shut the world down on us. But it was, they didn't tell me I couldn't make friends. I couldn't go out and talk to people. I mean, I could still do everything we do. I just couldn't wear a Juice Plus hat, right? So that's the power of this business. And now everything's transferred to the US, and we work this business together. And during that window of not working, we were working things together. Kind of, no one on here from USCIS, is there? But that's the power and the beauty of the business, the freedom. You can live and move it wherever you want.
And I love that. I think that's something that's so unique about what we get to do, is I could decide to uproot and go to a different country. My paycheck still gets to follow me. And that is so cool, which kind of brings me to my next question that has to do with longevity. So you mentioned that you just recently made your 35-year anniversary with Juice Plus, which congratulations, that is absolutely amazing. So can you touch on the power of longevity within this company and what that means to you?
Well, unfortunately, what it means to me is that I'm old. But I mean, longevity is everything. You know, if you, I don't know if anyone's ever had a job before, been involved with anything that went out of business. I fortunately have never had that. And I don't even know what it would be like. It's got to be deflating and just not good. Well, my background being in financial planning and being investments and stuff like that, a lot of companies come and go. They come and go, products come and go. We've got a company that's been around over 50 years with a product that's been around over 30 years that virtually nobody has and has not heard of. And we're in over 25 countries around the world, and that's expanding too. I mean, it's longevity is, I mean, if you've made it 50, there's a good chance you're going to make it another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And to me, I just think that is the most important thing. You hear about all these businesses out there. Oh, come, we got a brand new business. You should get involved with us. Well, what 90% of those businesses aren't going to be here within 5 years. We know what we've got. We've got a rock solid management team, and we've got an amazing new CEO that's ready to take us down the path to the next 50 years. So I don't know. I just, it's hard to put into words, but you look at Jay Martin, who founded this company, and everyone he surrounded himself with has been around for many, many years. From, you know, Sean Hopkins and John Blair and all the management team, they've been around forever. And then the partners in the business in Charlotte at the conference, they said there's over 500 partners in the computer that have been with the business over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. So yeah, I mean, longevity, you know, once you've established that, it's hard to break it. It's like everything else we've got in our business. Once you've built in this track record, and you've got a track record of success and of longevity, it's everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, nothing else can touch us. Then right now, you guys, I really want to put an emphasis on taking advantage of that $22 sign up fee right now. That is huge. And so yeah, I completely, everything you just say, I agree with wholeheartedly. And so you did bring up Jay Martin there. And so that kind of brings me to my next question, because if we know Jay Martin, we know one thing: he wants everybody to get a buddy. At conference, they talked a lot about finding a buddy. And so I know you're married to your business buddy, but have you experienced success from reaching out and connecting with other sidelines and partners? And do you suggest others do the same?
100%. I don't know anyone that's done this business alone and been successful. It's you need somebody there to pick you up and dust you off when some of those days when you're just not having a great day. And, you know, so when I got started, my sponsor, him and I, we were buddies, you know, and he moved to Europe, so I had to find a new one. But I'm one of the fortunate ones. I was lucky enough to marry my buddy. But the good news is, if you look at most of the successful people in this company, they're couples. Mickey and Carrie, right? Perfect examples. Mm-hmm. But couples, there's a power. It's that 1 + 1 = 3 that, like Jay talks about. You need a buddy, and you know, you might go, as you evolve, maybe your buddy doesn't grow with you, and you find another buddy. But it's important to have a buddy with you at all times, because you can bounce ideas off of each other. And, you know, Courtney and I work the business together, but we've got other sideline buddies that we work with. She was on 2 or 3 Zooms today with other ladies in the business, planning and masterminding and things about you know, things we're going to do coming down the road here. So you can have more than one buddy. But I think that's the beauty of this business. Back when I got started, my upline wasn't as strong as it is today, my support system. And that's one of the reasons that I think that I, went to the financial planning side, because I just didn't feel like I was being supported. It's so different today. So different. Everyone works together as a team. I'm on this call, and we've had people from these calls on our calls, and we all work to support each other. We don't financially benefit directly, but indirectly we all benefit.
Mhm.
Because when the company becomes more successful, we all become more successful. So the power of a buddy is, I mean, everyone needs a buddy. It's going to be difficult to do it without. And even when you've got a buddy, you want to always be looking for more people, talk to people that are in the business. You're always learning things. Jim Gonsolin and I are good buddies. We used to do a lot of calls together every week. We were accountability. We talked to each other every week for a lot of weeks. And so it's a powerful thing to have a buddy.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I want to challenge people that are on this call tonight. If you are currently doing this business without a buddy, reach out to your upline and they will help you find one. But also watch the magic happen, because there is a shift in your business when you sit down via Zoom or in person with a buddy and get work done. Whoo, when you can feel that fire and you can ignite it with someone else to connect on it, whoo, that makes all the change. So thank you for sharing that. And so lastly, before we conclude here, what are your biggest tips for people who are taking a look at this business or to partners that maybe need to reignite that fire?
Well, I think my biggest tip would be use momentum to your advantage. Okay. And if you don't have any momentum right now, be teachable, go upline, find somebody that you can count on, find that buddy, and start doing some events. Do whatever it takes to get that momentum back. We all go through, life is not a straight line up. We've all got ups and downs, and sometimes we get it and we lose it. But once you've got momentum on your side, use it to your advantage. And that really starts with getting excited about what we get to do. Everyone be like Lee Ellen Kline here. Get excited, right? And that becomes contagious. And then use the bonuses that we've got to drive not just your goals, but your new people's goals. I don't know if you've noticed, but lately they've been pouring more money into the new people. And there's a reason for that, because when they're successful, everyone else is successful. And so use those bonuses to drive your new people and also to drive yourself. And then again, upline and sponsors for guidance. Be teachable. I'm sure we all think we know what we're doing when we come into this thing, but there's a system, a tried and proven system that's in place, and your upline and your sponsor, they can share that with you and show you that, guide you down the path. This business is simple. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but it's simple. So if we just follow that tried and proven system and take advantage of the momentum, like the moment, I don't know if anyone that was in Charlotte for our conference last week, I'm thinking you probably got a little bit of momentum when you came back, and it's still going. Don't let it dissipate. Keep working on it. Events, talk to people, get out there. And I just want to say, focus on serving others. Somebody said at conference, people can sense when you've got commission breath when you come up to them, and all you're worried about is the sale. Focus more on them than what you're going to make or what you're going to earn. Because when we take care of people and we look after them and help them solve their problems, whether it's health-wise or financially, we'll be taken care of. So it's more about the life that's changed than what it's going to do for you. And I think that's the most impactful part. Focus on others, help them, and then you'll be taken care of.
Oh, that was beautiful. And I love that you concluded it on talking about being a servant to other people, because y'all, that's truly what we do in this business. And I hate to break it to you, but if you're in it just for the money, you're not going to go very far. And I'm going to be very blunt with you, because we are a people caring business. We are a relationship business. We're not going to go sell a product just to sell a product. We sell a product because we care, because we want more for people. And so thank you for saying that and concluding with that. I think that was absolutely beautiful. But John, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I am so honored to have been able to interview you. And these were absolutely great answers and responses. And I know that everybody got some amazing, amazing takeaways, as I did, from tonight's call. So before we wrap up, I just have a few announcements, you guys, for our upcoming calls. So if you want to jot them down, or like I said at the beginning, set some alarms in your phone so you don't miss them. November 13th, we have Danny Martin. We'll be interviewing Nyla Mason, who has been with us for 30 plus years, is a PMD plus. Then we have November 20th, Mr. Jimmy, of course. Speaker is to be announced. November 27th, Mr. Carey will be interviewing the one and only Gustavo Beltran, the CEO of Mexico. It is going to be an English Zoom. So you guys write those down. But again, John, thank you so much for being with us. Mr. Carey, if you want to wrap it up from there.
Thank you for the invite, and it's my pleasure and my honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, this was exciting just to listen to Lee Ellen. Anytime she does a call, everyone gets excited no matter what she's saying. And then John Shaw, I've been knowing John for so long. He's just been a prince of a guy out in Canada. I remember Mickey and I making a lot of visits into Canada, and we're able to visit with him quite often, Lee Ellen. He's just a prince of a guy, prince guy.
I can tell.
Now he's from the U.S. You know, he lives in the U.S. How about that? Not too far away from us. So, Mickey, I don't know if you have anything you want to add in. You want to unmute yourself?
I'm unmuted, and I thank you, John, so much. And it was just a pleasure to be able to hear the John Shaw and Courtney, now Shaw, love story. So this is the Juice Plus love story. That's what I want y'all to know. Exactly. And as Carrie was saying, you know, we knew John before there was Courtney in the picture. So it was been a long time relationship. So John and Courtney are both our buddies in this business. We love being able to hear them speak and hear that story over and over. You know, it's just wonderful to see what our business brings to us. And maybe you're not looking for that type of a buddy. Maybe you already have one of those buddies. but
now you know you could get that kind of buddy if you tried.
You never know. I already had a buddy. He was my buddy for only 1 month, and he ended up being my business buddy too. So you just never know. That's Carrie and I's story. So it's just a wonderful story. I always like to tell, you know, this doesn't happen to everyone, but you know, Victoria Van Duzy, who is Lee Ellen's sponsor, she was in the business prior to her husband Patrick. They met within the first month or so. Actually, Carrie and I were one to introduce them. And I always like to take credit for that part. And so it was a match made in heaven. And here they are after so many years and expecting their brand new baby in December. So we're excited about that. So you never know what can happen in this business, or who'll end up just being your best friend. I know for those of you who were at at the convention, they threw up on the screen a picture of Danny and Debbie Martin and Carrie and I. They have, as couples, we have been buddies for so many years. We do so many things together. I mean, we're always checking with each other. We only live 15 minutes away from each other. So we're always checking on each other to see what's happening. So you never know. Those buddies just end up happening for you. Jim Gonsolin has been a buddy of ours for so many years, you know, in the 30s. So, you know, all of these people, it was so fun, John, as you mentioned, being able to see the people that stood up at conference who have been with our company for 30 years. That's loyalty, that's longevity. It's just a wonderful feeling. So I'm still excited from the conference. So John, thank you again for joining us tonight. And Lee Ellen, as always, John said it, excitement is contagious. And if they hear you speak, Lee Ellen, and they don't get excited by being on the call, to hear themselves just be called out by you, it's just a fun thing. So anyway, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for
Good
joining.
night.